guys, today we'll discuss, we'll introduce a new topic, that is ALV reports. What is a report? What is a report? In general, in general, forget about the programs, ABAP, SAP, everything. Like, what is a report in general? You might come across this word, right? Report in many places, right? Like medical report, your fitness report, right? So report contains a meaningful data in a structured manner. A meaningful data in a structured manner, right? That's what we call as report, correct? For example, someone someone asks you a report on an employee. Submit a report on the employee or employee performance. So what does that report contains? About the employee performance. So who is the employee? Employee ID, right? In which department he belongs to, and what is his performance, and what is the performance measure. So the detailed information will be available in a report in a structured manner, right? Correct? So that's what we are going to build in SAP ERP system. The reports in a structured manner. Like where can we find the data in SAP? Where the data actually resides? Database tables. If you take purchase order records, if you take any purchasing records, there will be 50 or 60 tables, or maybe 20, 30 tables available to maintain this purchasing data, correct? When I am talking about purchasing report, purchase order report, what I need to do? I need to gather information from all these different tables and present to the customer or present it to the end user in a meaningful format, in one format, right? Let's assume this as a report. ALV reports. What is the meaning of ALV? ABAP list viewer. Okay, ALV means ABAP list viewer. So what is the use of ALV? We can present the data in a structured format, right? In a structured format. Like your progress, like a progress report, right? You can take report of any real world example. We're going to design those reports by collecting data from different sources, not only from tables. We may need to get data from other system, a third party system, by using some interfaces, and we gather all this data and we combine the data as single output and we display it as a report, right? So in tables, the data will be just like rows and columns, right? So we are going to get, are we going to get complete data from tables and display in the report? When I'm talking about reports, do we need to select all the data available in a table and display in the report? No. So depends on a condition, depends on a requirement. So we use filters. We apply filters on the records. Correct? For example, report by employee department or report by employee technology. Like that. We are going to apply some filter on the database tables and we select the data what is required for our report. Right? So every company quarterly they are going to release their financial reports. What that report contains? Every quarter, every company is going to release their financial reports. What does that contain? What does that report contains? So what are the sales they made in that quarter? What are the profit? What is the loss? Right? So what are the total employees they have and everything they used to mention in that financial reports, quarterly financial reports for the shareholders, right? So that they can aware, so that they can aware what is happening in the company, what is the financial status of the company, the share, who are all the shareholders, right? So like that, we are going to use these reports in many real world scenarios. So here we are using ALV ABAP list viewer to design that report. So previously also we are able to display the output, right? Using CL demo output. Why we need separate ALV reports? Are we able to display the data or not using CL demo ALV, whatever the data available in final internal table? We did that, right? But why we need a separate tool or separate technology like ALV report? Because ALV reports provides many built-in functionalities, inbuilt functionalities, like you can sort the output, you can filter the output, right? You can summarize the records, and also you can download your output data into internal table, right? You can also download your data into internal table. So there are many built-in functionalities available in ALV. Okay, ABAP list viewer. So what is the use of ABAP list viewer or ALV? So displaying the data in a reporting manner, correct? So ALV is used to okay. So here we have many built-in functionalities, right? We'll see what are those functionalities one by one. Like if you observe here, what are we doing in the report, in any report? We're going to get data from tables and we're going to merge that different tables data into what? We're going to merge the data into one single output, correct? We're going to merge the data into one single output and we are going to display that in the report. Okay, We're going to display that in the report in some structured manner that might contain some tables, tabular data like this. So in SAP terminology or in SAP system, how we are using these ALV reports? If you take example of any purchasing department, if they want to see what are the number of purchase orders created, what are the different purchase orders created today or in the last 1 week. So they can display in that report. They can use the report to display the data. Your report will be like this. This is the final output. But how it is different from our CL demo output, whatever we used to display the output, that is just a sample output. There you are not going to have any functionalities or any features, any additional options. Let's see one report what we have built using CL demo output. Enter the company code. So this is the output, right? So it is just a simple output. It will just display simple output with field technical names. We don't have any additional functionalities here, and that too it is not in a reporting format, right? Can you print this output? Is there any option to print this output? No. But in ALV reports you can take a printout or you can sort the output. You can sum up the data, like you can build the totals and grand totals. You can apply all those functions on the ALV output. Okay. Clear? So we have, for ALV outputs, we have function modules and class methods. One is following procedural oriented approach and the next is following class methods. Since we haven't discussed about object oriented, first we'll work on function module based ALV reports. Function module based ALV reports, right? And in ALV reports, there are different types of ALV reports. That is list display, grid display, blocked ALV, and hierarchical ALV. Okay. So list display, list displays the normal plain list, and grid displays it contains somewhat advanced format, right? It's more convenient to change the columns position, columns layout. We'll see one by one. What is the first one? First we'll see list display. So what is the function module for list display? Every ALV report function module will start with reuse underscore ALV underscore list display, reuse underscore ALV underscore list display. Next one, what is another type of ALV? Reuse underscore ALV underscore display. Okay, list display, grid display. Next ALV, blocked ALV. Is it blocked or blocked? Let me check that in the system. Go to SC37. So this is the third type of ALV, reuse underscore ALV underscore block list display. What is difference between grid display and list display? Is single output. Single output. So but by using block display, what you can do? You can display multiple outputs, multiple internal tables data in a single ALV output, right? For example, purchase order data at the top and next sales order data as a separate outputs in the same display. Okay, so we can achieve that using a block display. In interviews also they'll ask you like how can you display two different outputs in the same ALV output. What is your answer? You can use a block list display to display multiple outputs in the same output screen. Clear? What is the function module we need to use? Blocked ALV, or not the function module, type of ALV is blocked ALV if you want to display multiple outputs in the same output screen. Okay, like this. The same output screen, if you want to display two different outputs, okay, you can use a blocked ALV. Okay, but it won't support the grid display, it will support the list display. Anyway, we'll see one by one. What is the next ALV? Sorry, what is it? Yeah, hierarchical ALV. So let's see what is the function module for hierarchical ALV. Reuse underscore ALV, and we'll see what is HI. Yeah, this is the one. What is this hierarchical display? Hierarchical ALV. So hierarchical ALV contains data like this: parent and child model, record. Let's assume this line as a record, header record. Let's assume this line as a header record from EKKO, and it contains the child records, right? What is the table? Item level data. What is the table? What is the table for purchase order item level data? EKPO, right? So that item level record will be displayed like this. And then next header record, next purchase order header record, and the corresponding items will be displayed like this as a sub item. Okay. When we use this hierarchical ALV, when you need to display data in this tree format, header data and the corresponding item data, right? But how we are displaying in normal reports, we are merging everything into a single output ALV, and we are displaying the each record as a we are displaying the output as a separate record. We are not displaying in the tree format. But if you want to display header record and the corresponding item record in a tree format, what is the report you need to use? Hierarchical ALV. Okay. What is the ALV you need to use? Hierarchical ALV. Clear? And we have few other function modules to display the header data, to display the logos. We'll see them later. Okay. First we'll concentrate on ALV, list display, grid display, blocked ALV. Right? Then we'll see rest of the concepts. What is the next ALV? I think there is a typo here. Reuse. What is the function module? Reuse underscore ALV underscore HIERSEQ list display. Okay. This is the fourth type of ALV. So what are the different types of ALVs? List display, grid display, block display, and hierarchical display. Right? So what is list display? List display will display the single report with list format. Right? And grid display will display the single output, single ALV output in a grid format. Okay? So what is the function module block display? Block display is used to display multiple outputs in the same ALV output screen. Okay. Then we use a blocked ALV. Clear? We can also achieve this multiple ALV displays by using object-oriented ALVs, but we'll see that later. For now, what is the option we have to display the multiple outputs in the same output screen? Blocked ALV. Okay. And what is hierarchical ALV? Fourth one. Hierarchical ALV uses to display data in the header and item level, right? In that format, header and item format. Clear? So we need to use a type group. So we have a type group. Type group nothing but it contains type structures. You know type structure, right? What is a type structure? What is a type structure? We have already created many type structures in the program using types begin of end of, right? With the list of fields, with required fields. Yes or no? We created, right, in the program with the type structure nothing but using types begin of and the list of fields what we need and the end of type structure, and we are going to define internal tables and work areas with reference to those type structures, right, in the program. So here we use a type group. What is type group? Type group nothing but a collection of these type structures. So we are creating these type structures in the program, right? For example, if you want to reuse those type structures in different program, what we can do? We can keep those type structures in one type group. In SE11, type group is the one of the object. Okay, we'll create the type group and how to maintain the type group, and we'll see that. But what is a type group? Type group contains reusable type structures. What can you see in a type group? What can you see in a type group? Reusable type structures, right? What is the type group that we are using in ALV? SLIS. SLIS is one of the standard type group designed for ALV reports. What can you see inside this type group? Go and open this type group. So to use the ALV reports, what we need to do? We need to add this type group to program. We'll see how to add this type group and everything. First see, what is this type group? Go to S11. Here, you can see this type group, right? We can also create our custom type groups with all required type structures. We'll see what is type groups. This is a standard type group, SLIS. Display. What can you find here? Types, types, type structures, right? All the type structures are mentioned here. Whatever the type structures relevant for ALV reports, correct? Only statement you can find is types, right? And constants also. Whatever the data declarations, whatever the type structures you want to reuse, how can you reuse? You can place those type structures in a type group. You can create a type group with all the list of the type structures which you want to reuse, and then you can use this type group so that you don't need to create the type structure again and again in a different program. Okay, what is a type group? Yeah, this is a this type group is a SLIS, but what is a type group? Type group contains reusable data declarations or type structures, right? Reusable type structures. Whatever the type structure you implemented in SLIS, this can be reused by adding this type structure SLIS to your program. You don't need to create this same type structure again in your program. You can directly create data declarations, right? Data element and internal tables and work areas. Okay, you add this type group to your program and create the internal tables and work areas without creating this type structure. You can reuse this. Okay, type group contains reusable type structures. Okay, We'll also create one custom type group later, okay? Because that's not very important for now. So we are going to use this list standard type group in our ALV reports. So that is mandatory. So list type group is mandatory for function module based ALV reports, because all the type structures whatever we use for ALV reports are available in this list. What is the alternative without using list? You can go to this type group and copy whatever the type structure required and place it in your program. But that is difficult, right? If you need to use 20-30 type structures, you need to copy and everything, and you need to paste it to your program, right? So instead of that, you can just refer this type group in your program. So whatever the type structures defined in this type group will be automatically available in your program, so that you can just define internal tables and work areas for that type structure. Okay, depends on the requirement. Is everyone clear on this? So what is mandatory for ALV reports? Function module based ALV reports? List type group, right? So what are the different types of ALV reports? List display, grid display, blocked display, and hierarchical display. Okay. So these are the 4 important ALV report function modules. Shall we create a program? First we'll see what is list display, then we'll go to grid display. And there are some specific limitations. There are some specific limitations. I mean to say some limits for ALV reports. That is (255), I think. So maximum characters, I think, including all these columns. So we have multiple columns, right? The total columns output length allowed is 255 columns, and maximum fields are 90. Okay. What is the maximum output length allowed? Maximum output length, or not the characters, maximum output length. Length or width, I think. No. Allowed is 255, and maximum fields you can use is 90. Okay. So let's create a program. Let's say 38. Display. Not going to create a program, but I'm going to convert our previous programs into ALV display. Is it fine? It's very simple. Come on. Okay, it's not 2021 is very slow. Let's create a program in 2020. Say demo ALV underscore one. What is the type of the program for ALV reports? What is the type of the program you have to select? nothing changed. Okay, you have to select executable program. Let me save it in the local package. In the meantime, okay, in the meantime 2020 is ready. So here what we are doing, we are selecting data, and we are getting the data into our final output, right? What is this? ITPO data. This is our final output, right? How we are displaying? We are using CL demo output to display this data, right? So shall we change this output into ALV report? ALV report output. Now what I am going to do, instead of CL demo output, what is the function module I need to call? First we'll see list display. First we'll see list display, how it will work. Go to pattern. But what is the prerequisite I told you to use ALV reports? Type groups list, right? We need to, how to add type groups list, I'll show you now. Okay, let it process. It is very slow today, I don't know why. So in the meantime, in the parallel session, we'll create one program in, a new program in, right? Selection screen, start of selection. Okay, let's create a program. We'll select some data, sample data, select star from EKKO into table. Am I using any where condition here? What I am doing here, up to 100 rows. Then what it will do? It will select first 100 records from the table. No condition here. What I am saying here is just select first 100 records from the table up to 100 rows, or up to 10 rows, up to 20 rows. You can also use conditions like that. Okay? If sy hyphen sub rc equal to 0, let's assume I'm going to display data from only EKK table. Okay, I'm not using any other data. What now? Earlier, I'll be displaying data like this. Right? So I'm just displaying some sample output like this earlier. Now, what is the prerequisite to use ALV reports? Let's convert this into ALV report. What is the prerequisite? List type group, right? How to add type group to your program? Type type hyphen pools SLIS. Like that, this is the statement. Type pools is the statement to add type groups to your program. Correct? So this is the statement. Type pools and lists, and keep it at the top. Okay? Now, whatever the type groups, whatever the type structures available in this type group will be accessible to this program. Okay? Otherwise, what is the alternative? Sorry, SLIS, not. So what is the alternative? Or You need to, whatever the type structure you need to place here, and you need to define required internal tables and work areas. So instead of using like this, instead of using individual type structures in the program, all the ALV related type structures are being added to this type group, so that without copying or without creating newly, we can make use of all these type structures in the program. For example, if you need to create an internal table for this REPID, what you need to do, just define an internal table or work area WA underscore REP some type structure name. Is it accessible in the program or not? Check. This is accessible, right? This is allowing. But where exactly this type structure is using? This is placed in type group. Okay? Clear? So that you don't need to create the type structure again in every program. That is the use of type group. Now, display the ALV output. First we'll see list display. Reuse. What is the function module? And you don't remember, if you don't remember, what you need to do? Just use stars. F4. This one, right? Reuse underscore ALV underscore list display. If you know how to call a function module, that's about ALV reports, calling function modules. If you know how to pass the importing and exporting parameters. So this is a basic ALV report. Enable the exporting parameter. Here you have to pass some inputs. Structure name. In structure name, what I need to pass? What is the data that I am selecting? EKKO, right? I'm using select star, right? I'm taking entire table reference. So pass EKKO. So this will be displaying all the columns. So whatever the ALV report I am using here, it is going to display all the columns available in table or structure. You can also use structure name here. Okay. And we have an option called field catalog. We'll see that in the next session. How we are going to use field catalog. How it is going to work. Okay. This is the basic ALV report. Here we are taking direct table reference or structure. In structure name, provide it in capital letter. What is mandatory? Should be in capital letters. The structure name. Okay, please observe that. Here we only need that. And what is a table? What you need to pass in tables? T underscore output tab. Whatever the final output internal table you want to display as a output. Here what you need to pass? The internal table which contains final output data. That might be any internal table. Okay. And we don't need all of this. I'll just remove for now. I need only structure for this basic ALV report and tables. In tables, you're going to pass the final output data. Here what is our final internal table? EKKO, IT EKKO. Let's display that. Pretty printer, check the syntax. No syntax errors. Activate. Execute the program. Now I don't have any conditions. This is the list display. What is this display? What is this display? List display ALV. Okay, this is the list display ALV. Here if you observe here, what are the details you have? You have sort option, so that you can sort the data by ascending, descending. For example, if you sort the ALV, if you want to sort the purchase order records by ascending, you can use this. It will display the output in the sorted order. If you want to descending, you can sort the records in descending order, right? So you have filter option. If you want to see records created on a specific date, you can apply filter. Select the column and apply the filter. Select the date. So here what are these values? All these values are available in output list. These are not from some value table or any other check table. All these dates are available in these output. So we are filtering those dates from these records. Okay, we are only filtering those dates from these records. Continue. So you can see records only created on a specific date. Remove it, delete. You can delete the filter, so it will display all. What is this option? Total. So if there is any amount or anything, let's find one amount field. Yeah, total value, right? Select this and click on this total. At the end, what you can see, let's observe. So this is the total amount. What is this? It is displaying the total amount here. Okay, this is the total amount it is displaying. Clear? And here subtotals also you can display. What is this option? You can download this data into Excel file. What you can do with this option? Spreadsheet option. You can download this output data into an Excel file. Okay, I think this into Word document. By using this, you can download this entire output into any text file or any other format, whatever you want. You can download this output data. Okay, if you click on this, let's click on spreadsheet. Let me remove that sum. So this is the output. If you want to display it into the spreadsheet, click on this spreadsheet option and it will download complete data into spreadsheet. Hello. This is your ALV output data. I have downloaded into Excel file. Okay. Clear? What is this option? You can send this output as email. You can send this ALV report output as email. Okay. Clear? So this is the layout change option. These are all formatting options. Like this, you have many additional options in ALV output. You can print it even here. You can see the print option, right? Even you can print the ALV output. Okay. Clear? So in your project, if someone asks you to create a report, are you going to use CL demo output? No. We should use any of these function modules, depends on the requirement. Mostly we are going to use grid display. Okay. Grid, not list display. And then if you want to display multiple outputs in the same ALV output, so this is a single output. So this is single output. If you want to display two different outputs like this in the same screen, what is the function module? Block ALV. Okay. Yeah. Now we'll see what is grid display, right? We'll call one more function module, grid display. Let's keep it as it is. First it will display the list display, then it will go to grid display. Okay, so that we can compare both, or we can comment this and call the grid display ALV. Reuse underscore ALV underscore grid display. So these are all, I don't need all of them. I need only structure name here in exporting. What is the structure name? EKKO, because I am selecting that complete EKKO table records, right? That's why I am using EKKO. Remove all of them. But there are some useful parameters here, but we'll see them in the next session. For now, importing is not required. And enable the exceptions. What you need to pass in the out tab is internal table. Whatever the final output we are displaying, pass it here. Pretty printer, activate the internal table. Only thing you have to observe is what the input you need to pass to the internal table and how to return the output. Right? Here we are just passing the outputs, structure name and final internal table data. Execute. So what is this? This is grid display. Right? You can expand the columns in grid display. Let's say I don't want to see the one particular column. What I can do? Select the column and right click, hide. Right? Clear? Or I want to change this order. I want to see this last changed in different order. You can also do that. You can change that column order. That will also work here. Okay, it is not moving. Okay. And if you want to hide any of the unnecessary columns, right click and hide. Okay. Or you can change that in change layout option. Go to change layout and select whatever the columns you require. Right? So the left side one is selected columns, right side one is available columns. Okay. So if you don't want all of them, just remove them and place them into right side, so that you can see only selected columns in your ALV output. Grid display is little more convenient, right, than list display. And also observe this, when I am see what is this COCD, what is this COCD? Company code, right? Let's expand the column. See CO code. Now when I have expanded little, it is displaying as CO code. Expand further, expand further. Now what it is displaying? Company code. Now let's say what is C. Expand this. Document category. Expand further. Purchase document category. It is automatically changing, right? It is automatically changing the list headings, right? From where these list headings are coming from and how they are automatically changing when I am expanding the column. How this functionality is working. Yes. So these functionalities available in field label, right? Go to, let's take one data element, company code. Sorry, what is the data element? Workers, right? Display. Go to field labels. What is the short description? CO code. Medium, company code. Heading, COCD, right? So when I am expanding it, it is automatically changing it to medium or long description, correct? That's what we observed, right? Initially, it is displaying what? Go back and execute the ALV report again. Initially, what it is displaying? For company code, heading, heading. And if you expand, short description. If you little more, company code, medium. And if you expand further, it will complete the long description. But in this example, we have both are same. Let's take EBLN, purchase document number. Initial thing is this one. Initially, it will display heading, purchase doc. If we expand further, purchasing doc. This one, medium description. Expand further, purchasing document. Now it is displaying the long description, right? So this functionality is coming from field labels. That's why field labels are very important. When you are working on the reports, if you don't use any field label, it won't display the heading. It will be blank if you don't maintain the field label in custom data elements. Okay, clear? Is everyone clear on this? Yeah, grid also will display the single output. What is that? What is that ALV that supports the multiple outputs? Blocked ALV, right? So grid display, list display, hierarchical display will display only single output. Only blocked ALV, by using only blocked ALV, we can display the multiple outputs. Okay. First we'll focus on list display and grid display, right? Then we'll go the remaining things. Because the most commonly using ALV reports are grid ALVs. Okay, in any project. Blocked and hierarchical are very rare. Okay. Because I've got a chance to create only one blocked ALV in my entire ABAP career. Because there is no such requirement in my project. You may get that requirement, I don't know, but mostly I've created grid displays, grid ALVs. Now let's go back to our old program, the previous program, whatever we have already created. So our business logic is completed. We are selecting the business logic and into one final internal table. What is the final internal table here? In our previous program, PO report output program, we are using this function module to return the output data by joining multiple tables, right? What's going on here? System settings does not allow changes to be made. Why? Okay, don't edit it. Change. Someone error in object editing. What is this? Someone already opened this program somewhere. If yes, please close this. Is it locked? SM12. No, no lock available. We'll do one thing. I'll just copy this program. ALV. What? Let me try another program. Can you guys tell me any of your programs? It's not even allowing me to change our display. Anyway, you got it right. How to call the ALV report? How to call the ALV report using list display and grid display. So here we are not using any selected fields. We are displaying whatever the records, whatever the fields available in this complete table, right? So tomorrow we'll see how to select the data from multiple tables and merge into our final output and display it in ALV, right? But there is no, like there is only small difference in calling the ALV function module. We have to build a field catalog. For those required fields, we need to build field catalog. So that is the only difference. Calling the ALV report function module is same. Okay. So please practice. So create ALV reports on any table. Take one table and select the data and display in the ALV output using list display or grid display. Okay. Go back. Next, it will display the grid display. Is everyone clear on this? Yeah, create one or two reports. One is using list display, the other one is using grid display. Okay. Tomorrow we'll work on ALV reports using field catalogs. That's what I've told you. You can use structure or table. If you want to select only required fields, what you can do? Create a structure with required fields. Here, if you want to select only two fields from EKKO, what you need to do for now? Since we haven't introduced the field catalogs, for now what you can do? Create a structure with required fields and use that structure name here in place of table name. Use that structure name and select only required fields here in the select statement. Okay, clear? Or do you want to see that? How to do that? Okay, just create, for example, like this EVELN bookers. Two fields you are selecting. Create a structure with these two fields, not the type structure, data dictionary structure with these two fields, EVLN bookers, and use that structure name here. Okay, in place of table name, use that structure name, right? And whatever the fields available in structure, use that in the search statement in the same order. Clear? Because you cannot achieve that, you cannot display the ALV output using type structure. You cannot provide type structure name here. You have to provide data dictionary structure name only. That's why we need to create a structure to select the only required fields. Clear? So try one program with direct table reference and try another program with required fields. Select only 3 or 4 fields from the EKKO table or any VBAK, VBAP, whatever the table you want. Take one table and select the records. Or if you want to use a join, what you need to do? For example, here we are using join condition, right? What you need to do if you are using a join? Create a structure. Create a structure, whatever the fields you are selecting in the join, and provide that structure name here. Okay? Here, right? Here we are using join, right? By joining multiple tables, we are selecting the final output data, right? What you need to do here to display it in the final output? Here we need to create a structure with all these fields in the same order. Okay? Need to create a structure with all these fields in the same order and use that structure name in ALV function module. Okay? This is the final output data. Pass it to the ALV function module. Clear? Is everyone clear? How to display the selected fields? You need to create a structure for now. But tomorrow I'll explain you how to create field catalog. Then we don't need to create a separate structure. Is everyone clear? Yeah, please try creating the programs. If you have any questions, please let me know.